All right. Good morning. Let's get some sound checks going. Edie, Tova, good morning. And get my YouTube folks going here. Hang on a second. Awesome. 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 Appreciate the sound check. Logged in a couple minutes late today. Apologize for that. But I'm catching up quick. We have Chairman Powell and Yellen speaking soon, so I don't know. Not so sure what that is. What that has in store for us today. Terrence, good morning from Seattle. Yeah, I heard Seattle's getting like record rain. Is that true? No worries about the Caps. I get yelled at all the time. All right, I have YouTube rolling. All right, we got a lot of good mornings. Appreciate everybody being. Whoa, we don't need. That's my reminder. This guy's got my reminder. Hey, it's time to do a broadcast. A lot of stuff going on, obviously. Hopefully, everybody's Thanksgiving was great and relaxing. Although Friday was certainly exciting, for sure. All right, everybody, thanks for the greetings here. I'm almost caught up with my setup here. I just got to close some of these nonsense windows that are in the way. It is 10 o'clock. So we could officially start. Let's get that open. Let's go to view. Let's go to reading view. Good morning. Jim Cagnina, Senior Education and Trading Specialist for the NinjaTrader platform. Thanks for coming to today's trade setups in the E-mini S&P 500 market. Do want to remind everybody trading futures options on futures involves substantial risk of loss, not suitable for all traders and investors. Oftentimes in futures trading, you have a high combination of leverage and volatility. And although that could be an equation for opportunity, also be an equation for risk. So be careful, only fund your futures trading account with risk capital. Understand everybody is unique in this world. If you're not sure, just be in a good spot. My personal definition, money I could afford to lose, doesn't change my lifestyle, doesn't lengthen my retirement horizon, doesn't overly stress me out. So easy on the day trade margins, be in a good spot. As you fund your futures trading account, we are logged into my simulated live account with real-time data on the NinjaTrader platform. Well, I guess I don't know, where do we start? Griffin, good morning. Herbert, Simon, Patrick, Paulie, A, and everybody else. Appreciate you joining us today. But man, we had obviously the elephant in the room is the new COVID variant. Surprise, surprise. They've been telling us this has been coming forever, and then once it comes, everyone's all freaked out. So Friday we had a big sell-off. Yesterday a slight recovery, but then today we're kind of back. But here's the story, really. I want to show I want to start with this daily chart in crude oil. Holy cow, look at that. That is we're going to talk about this more tomorrow when we do our micro crude oil event tomorrow at noon. But I had this chart just queued up. I just wanted to show it to you. I mean, it's quite an interesting chart right now. We have double top. We had this OPEC meeting and non-OPEC ministerial meeting trying to right here push things back up to our second top, had a nice channel, and we broke through it wickedly. I'm going to use the word wickedly. That's a term of art. I'm going to trademark that. Wickedly is a trading term now. And that was an 11 handle move. On a micro, that's $1,127. Holy cow. Just imagine what it would be in a big one. A little bit of we mirrored the next day. Yesterday, we mirrored that little recovery blip that we tried to kind of rally back up. And then today, no, we just kind of broke through long-term support. And we'll see how we go forward on this thing. But obviously, with nations closing their borders, Japan, China, no one from South Africa can get to the U.S., fuel oil or jet oil is a thing, is an issue now. Probably among other energy initiatives. So we're definitely bearish in crude oil right now. I think there's going to be an emergency meeting with these OPEC people pretty soon. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. I thought that was fascinating. Again, it's just me. The idea that crude oil is inversely related to the U.S. dollar, that's changed. That's not a steadfast rule. I mean, if you kind of look at the majors over here on the quote board, pound, Aussie dollar, Canadian dollar, euro, Japanese yen, most of them are stronger versus the US dollar today. And so it's not an inverse 100% correlated inversely anymore. I don't think, shale and other types of things popped in here to kind of change things around a little bit, even though crude oil is WTI is purchased with US dollars. Griffin says fired up the big account Sunday, scaled in pretty large work, but not near as well as I hoped, but it was fun for a change to trade some size. Level 2 trading says got a couple of micros long at 46.28. That's a nice trade for sure. 40, it's right here. We're 28 right now. I'm a little worried about this whole, every time either you have, the president or the Fed chairman or the Treasury secretary, on TV live, it's cause for concern. I mean, we don't know what they're going to say. But we do know they're going to try to calm the market right now. And let me just kind of pop up. I have another chart here somewhere. I just got to find it. And my sea of windows here. Let me pull this over to the side, organize my screen. I'm going to close that window up. We don't need that. That's my phone call thing. Nobody needs to listen to my phone ring. Let's go to, let's see. Let's look at the ZB chart. Why can't my ZB chart get pulled up here? It's hiding somewhere behind something. We will find it in a moment. Is it behind here? This is modular software. It's super easy to use. I have all these monitors here, which is kind of messing up my whole. There we go. There we go. One thing I did add, by the way, I want to point out, I added just volume, right, at the bottom of my 10-minute chart. And this is something new to me. I was interested in like, when we have these big price moves, right? So here at like, I don't know, midnight, all the way to 1 to 110 bar, this whole hour, we had some pretty big price move down, right? And so I'm looking at the volume here. We had little spikes of volume here, but nothing in comparison to what we have on the open, right? Open is just a huge amount of volume. And then, so the relationship between volume and the average daily range seems to be inverse almost, right? I mean, this red candle was not that big, literally, when we had the big volume spike at the open. And 930 to 940 bar, high was 32, low was 14. I guess it's a decent size, but now we're starting to kind of perk up again, move back up here above our point of control. Let's just take a look at, YM. I have YM versus gold futures. Why, I don't know. But YM is probably taking it the hardest on any of the stock index futures. And it's also kind of a low volume kind of futures market, but you can participate, particularly if you're patient with your entries and exits. Bonds, I got lines all over the place here on bonds. But, we're at this double high right now, this double top right now. We'll see if we can keep going up or if that's it, right? We broke that trend line a long time ago. Nothing to write about, but this is an inverse relationship with equities right now. Bonds, US 30-year bonds for sure. And this was the most surprising is gold futures kind of, it didn't, now we're up, I don't know, we're over 18. We're up significantly, but nothing in relationship to this big downward move that we've had in gold. So I'm a little bit surprised that gold's not even stronger. And we haven't driven back up to my rectangle here, old rectangle there. In any event, that's where we're at right now. So it's really a toss-up. I don't know if I'm bullish. I don't know if I'm bearish. I do expect a recovery in the equity side once some of this more information comes out on the new mutation, or I guess it's a mutation, right? I guess what they call it. Level 2 says really haunting the 46.53. Scale out of one of them. There's your 39. You really got to be sure you have best practices today. This is like, this S&P it's like a river that you don't know where it's flowing. Sometimes it takes a wrong turn and it keeps on flowing. If you know what lyric that is, let me know. You have to be an older guy to know. It's like a river that does not know where it's going. It takes a wrong turn and it just keeps on going, flowing. So Griffin says, I think you can see 50, but I have no idea how happy it will be to get there. 50, well, a lot of market weakness up at 50. If you look at the volume profile on the 10-minute chart. So I'm inclined to be bullish here as well, but Nasdaq's positive. Dow is less than 200 negative finally. RTY not doing so well. ES is only down 9.7. So I'm going to rely on the point of control. I'm going to rely on the bottom of the value area for a super patient trade idea. If you're doing micros, I'd probably do both units. A unit at the point of control and then the unit at the bottom. Decent sized volume coming in. We have a ton of volume actually overall. We have 745,000 already, which is a pretty big day for sure. But from a retracement point of view, I'm going to go ahead and put in a excuse me, a couple of lines here, and I want to go low to high, I think, right now. And what I want to do is pick the low, and this was what at 1 o'clock, 1 to 10 bar, 1 to 110 bar, and this is Eastern time I'm referring to. I'm going to click here. I'm going to go up to right where we're at here, and I'm going to look at that retracement is give me some confirmation. 23.6 right below the top of the value area, the 38.2 right below the point of control, and then the 50% isn't anywhere of note. 68.1 at the bottom of the value area. Right now, I'm inclined to look for right at that 46.19 area to try to get long right now and be patient. Sit in my hands. Again, though, have your stop loss in place right now, because what's going to happen if Yellen and what's his name? What's his name? If Yellen and Powell start talking smack, then we're in a little bit of trouble. We had a little bit of economic. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Finally. And the reason I came up with that analogy, Chris said Bruce Springsteen, Hungry Heart. Absolutely. Now I'm old enough to know this, right? Because this was probably from the River album in 1981. And not only that, though, I'm rereading another Mark Douglas book, The Disciplined Trader again, and he's referring to this. Price is a river that just kind of moves. It just flows in whatever direction it wants, and I think that's a good way to look at it. I really do, and it kind of helps explain the idea that price is volatile. It'll go up, it'll go down, it'll go sideways. Once it gets once traders flex their muscle and there's force applied to price, it could move sharply in one direction or the other, as we've seen. So it's a great analogy. I think I really like it, and I'm going to use it more often just because I can. Anyway, everybody who said good morning, I apologize for not saying good morning personally to you. I literally was logging in here right at 10 o'clock this morning here. So we're going to be patient, see if we can get a little bit of pullback here, then a recovery back up. I'm keeping my eye on the quote board on the right-hand side. Why do I have, this is the crude oil I have over here. Yeah, crude is just an amazing story right now. And we'll see what happens here. And I think it's going to be a good gauge on good bellwether on what's going on with the uncertainty associated with how countries are going to handle the new virus mutation, and what kind of information is going to flow once we have more science on transmits better but more mild, all this stuff that we heard over the weekend, which does not help with certainty. So markets don't like uncertainty. That's why we're having this big move down. I don't know about Cyber. What was it? Cyber Monday or Friday was Black Friday. Yeah, I bought a couple things. I'll admit it. I'm no better than it. I'm no different than anybody else. I bought a couple things because of the discounts that psychologically triggered an impulse in my head to buy things that I totally don't need. So that's how that all went down. I don't know about you, but it's part of the whole psychology of life, let alone psychology of trading. But that's what's going on in my head. We're going to be patient here and just wait. I mean, I am in no hurry today let's just kind of take a peek. Case-Shiller, this was kind of a little tiny bit of a downturn. If you chart the Case-Shiller home price index, I think the idea is that home prices are still appreciating, but they're in a decelerating fashion, right? We had our first curve down. If you look at Case-Shiller chart, nothing to write home about. It could be just a deep breath. Who knows? But at a certain point, it's going to, in my opinion, it's going to turn around. But right now, it's kind of sideways. Going to be a little bit adjusted on the downward side. FHFA house prices pretty much close to consensus. Didn't do much changing either. I did not have time to look at Chicago PMI or consumer confidence, so I don't know. If somebody sees consumer confidence, type it in the quote board here, and we can talk about it. Whatever the numbers were. Fed parade. Again, it's my new category of my notes. John Williams is speaking at 10:30, but Powell is at 10 with Yellen in front of some congressional committee somewhere. Griffin says, I found nothing I wanted to buy, but I did get a notice from Amazon that several dog toys are on the way. I wonder if the dog got its own credit card, or maybe the dog hacked into your account, Griffin, and you are actually paying for these. Ankle Boo Boo, good morning. Uh-oh, YouTube made me create a channel in order to chat. Sorry about that. But you can always follow us in Zoom. Just go to the Zoom link. Hunter, yeah, Hunter, these things that I do are on, if you're really bored, these things that I do are on are archived on the NinjaTrader YouTube channel. So feel free to look at those, particularly when you can't sleep at night. Earnings, not much. That's kind of over. Notable. That's a new category in my notes. Notable. Reconciliation bill. This nonsense continues in Capitol Hill. Government shutdown again. They got to do some stuff to deal with that. Debt limit, December 15th. So you're going to read a lot about this week, in addition to all the virus stuff. And I did not do an update on my FedWatch tool. Let's do that now. FedWatch tool. Move this over a little bit. Click on FedWatch tool. This is an awesome tool, man. I'm going to go ahead and see if my internet browser works still. Might not. There we go. 15 days to the next FOMC meeting. By the way, this is the last day in November. Just figured that out this morning. And so we got a couple more weeks, and this is going to be an interesting meeting for sure. Probability is just zero that the Fed's going to change their target rate. But let's take a look at March. Now we have a 13.4% chance, according to the CME Group Fed Funds Algo probability tool, which is interesting. We'll see if that happens or doesn't. That's going to be our first meeting with the new constituents of the board, by the way, FOMC changes that are going to happen. That's that first meeting. January 28th, it's the old guard. January 26th, it's the old guard. March 16th, it's the new guard. So we'll keep an eye on that. I particularly like the probabilities tab here, where you could see the different probabilities and kind of like a matrix kind of method. So I'm going to cut and paste this into, I can't do it on YouTube, so I'm going to ask my trusty sidekick, Isabella, to cut and paste that into YouTube and Facebook. In any event, that's it for my notes. I mean, I don't have really anything else other than that to write home about. But the big dog in the room is this virus. I think this virus idea. So we're kind of slowing down on our volume right now. Moving on our volume, but we're not really. We're 170 on the CCI. It's kind of strong. That's a good thing. Moving average cross is a little bit diverging, I would call it. And we're kind of in that patience mode. Patience. Griffin says, where do you find your headlines? I don't watch TV in the office. So, this is just I have a couple of sources. So when I do this kind of thing in the morning, I use either the CME Group's economic calendar or the Econo Day economic calendar to get some of that information. I will read I have a subscription to the Wall Street Journal, which I'll read in the morning on the treadmill, believe it or not, on my cell phone, which requires my glasses, which get foggy when I'm on the treadmill. So it's a little problematic for me, but I work through it. And then I have a Hulu subscription with Bloomberg Surveillance Live, and I listen to that in the background. Then I'll look at thehill.com for what's going on in Capitol Hill. It's a really good website. Thehill.com is exactly what it sounds like you should get for that. And then for doom and gloom, if you're interested in doom and gloom, you're going to go to Zero Hedge, right? Zero Hedge will give you all sorts of doom and gloom every day, nonstop, 24 hours. It's fun. And then lastly, Twitter. I go on Twitter and I look at my Twitter friends and they put stuff in there. I also recently started the night before, or even early in the morning, going to Reddit and looking at Wall Street Bets is the Reddit thread or subgroup or whatever it's called. And you get all sorts of nonsense in there, but it's quite entertaining and you could pick up a couple of tips here and there. In any event, yeah, I know. Ankle Booba says, how do you keep your eyes from bouncing while running? All right, so let me qualify. Let me kind of define my definition of running on the treadmill. It's more like walking quickly. So my eyes aren't bouncing as much, right? When you're my age, you walk quickly. It's like that power walking kind of, but then I'll ramp it up with the ramp. You could put the incline on, and then so half walking, half running. And when I get to the running part, then yeah, you can't really read. Yeah. So here's the thing, Griffin. My opinion is in Twitter is you literally you get what you pay for. And in my world, I like to look. You could customize your stream, right? And you could follow folks that you want to follow, right? So you're following energy markets, you're following Tracy, you follow, and you know who could provide good links and good pieces of information. So you could kind of weed out a lot of the nonsense because you're just following things you're interested in. So that's how I do it. But in any event, yeah, sometimes you get some good information from it. Izzy says, I shorted the 38s. Well, that's a great trade right there. Right at the top of the value area. Very, very, very good. Shorted that right now. 6 handles so far for sure. So for platform kind of M asks how to read the dome. I would probably focus on 2 things. One, the NinjaTrader website has how-to videos and how to use the platform. Number 1. Number 2, on Thursday at noon, I'm going to do a futures trading 101 event, and I'll spend more time than anybody ever cared about talking about the dome, how to read the dome, how to work the dome, how to use the dome. So come to that. That's my best advice right now. Come to that Thursday, and we will be all over the dome Thursday at noon. It's on the NinjaTrader platform trading website. There you go, Griffin. You got the Wall Street Journal on Audible. You could listen to it on your morning walk. I love it. Thank you, Isabella, for popping that in there. Just follow that link, Ishmael, and I will spend time on the trading ladder tomorrow for sure. Futures Trading 101. This is what makes futures trading unique, right? Is centralized exchange, transparent, the level 2 NinjaTrader Superdome, level 2 a view of the market. You don't have to be a pattern day trader to get it or to use it, which means you could be more capital efficient when funding an account, and all of these kind of things. So anyway, I'm sidetracking here. Let's see if we can, man, hopefully you're still short from 38. That would be sweet. If we can pick up, patience is the key here. This is one of the hardest things in the world to do, is to sit on your hands and say, hey, I got a plan. I'm going to keep my plan in place. I'm gonna, not change things, right? Psychologically speaking, I feel this need or this impulse to want to get long now. I want to chase it. I want to move this limit order up from 16, 19 and a quarter, up to maybe above the point of control, or maybe to the bottom of the candle. I want to get in, right? Because that's exciting. It triggers excitement. It's part of this whole concept of fear and greed that we all have, that we have to conquer. It really do. And once we conquer that, we can start looking at structure. Then we can be onto something. And hopefully one day I will be able to conquer it myself. After many decades, I'm still not there, but I'm still going to try. I'm going to draw a rectangle here. And this is my short-term area of what I'm going to call support. And I drew it to touch the lowest closed previous, the bottom of the body of the lowest previous candle. And then I extended it a few ticks below the lowest wick, and I'm declaring it by area support. This is just my declaration. I think it's true. And notice our order is right at the bottom of it. If we were more conservative, I'd actually put it down a little bit lower right here. But I think we're in a good spot here at that 38.2%. I'm going to go ahead and add another one, though. The second one at the top, right? Where is resistance at? Resistance again, the top, the highest body, the highest part of the body of a candle that's already closed. And now I have a short term. Now I've kind of put a frame around the conversation. This is kind of how I see where we're at right now. Resistance, support, and let's go. Oh, the top of my fib line, I just did it right here to the contemporary high. I didn't go all the way up to the high. I just used the contemporary high for that fib line. I'm not playing the whole range today. Volume starting to taper off a little bit, but still a pretty decent size wick here. We have 824,000 already traded in the ES and the micro NASDAQ, 650. NASDAQ's actually way, it's been way stronger than some of the other stock index futures. Let me just kind of pull up a daily chart again. This is just a real sneak peek here, but we had an equal and opposite. I mean, look at that. That's an equal and opposite candle right there between the previous two trading sessions, and that's a powerful thing. It's a very positive result so far with respect to the NASDAQ. Right now we have kind of like a doji type of formation. We're only up 15 so far. We haven't got our footing yet, but this is a very positive development in NASDAQ. So we'll see if that continues on, and we start, dredging upward again, going back into full force bear mode. This on the daily chart on the NASDAQ. So that's an equal and opposite. The body of the candles are about the same. They're in opposite directions. The size of the candle are about the same. They're not, and well, it's almost a perfect equal and opposite, right? And that's basically, you put those two together. If you were to shuffle those like a deck of cards, you would have literally another doji right there, right? But because the second part of the candle is strong green, I'm thinking that we're going to have some positive upswing in this market as well. So I'm a little bit bullish right now in the NASDAQ. And again, I don't know what the heck Powell is talking about right now, or Yellen for that matter, but they're pretty good at saying the right things. They're seasoned politicians, even though Powell's not supposed to be a politician. Didn't get our target yet. I know it's very frustrating, and we might not get it. Second best thing that could happen to you, you don't get a fill. The first best thing, you get a fill and you make money. The third best thing, you get a fill and you lose money, which means the third best thing isn't really a best thing, it's a bad thing. So those are only three things, right? It's only three things. Griffin stopped to break even, stopped to 28. Long at 27. So a little bit more aggressive than me. Griffin's in there at 27 right now. He's got about a 3 handle in there. He moved his stop to 28. That's his shtick. This is how he handles things, which might have been stopped out right there. Okay, Chen says, how to set up the buy and sell order. What is the rule to set up the buy and sell order? Well, mechanically, it's easy. You're just going to either use your chart trader or use your trading ladder and click on a price. So how to set it up? In this particular case, I decided, you know what, I'm going to be slightly bullish, but I want to pull back from our contemporary high. I used a Fibonacci line, a Fibonacci retracement to give me some areas of interest. And I kind of lined them up a little bit with the point of control in the middle here, or prices close to the point of control in the middle here, and sent my order into the exchange that way. And now again, I'm in a real-time sim account, but this is, if this were live, this would be at the exchange right now. So that's that was pretty much it. CCI was positive, but there's no major slope on any of the CCI. It's been over 100 for a long time. The moving average cross is going parallel at this point. We're still about, 14 handles apart on the moving average cross right now. And they're starting to diverge a little bit, which is suggesting some bullish action, which is what we're seeing right now, right? We're seeing a green candle percolating right now. Volume is starting to slow down a little bit, as expected. It's 10:30 East Coast time, and an hour from now, it's going to be lunchtime for a lot of folks. So in any event, we could pivot over to the, if anyone's interested. What the heck is that chart? Holy cow. To the NASDAQ. Let's do that. NASI, MNQ. And let me just type again, a similar volume profile at the very bottom. And it's interesting how prices kind of slow down a little bit when you get more volume in there, right? There's more buyers and sellers expressing their opinion on price, and there's more equilibrium. So this is looking pretty strong as well. Fib line here, I would probably do a similar type of setup here with the fib. Fibonacci, where's that? Here it is. I'm going to go to this low here. Remember, it's similar to 1 o'clock, 110 bar, 1 to 110 bar low here. I'm going to go ahead and select it. I'm going to go all the way up to the 2 candles ago. We might be moving this thing as we go, but I'm adding that fib line there. And because this is a micro, now we have some options, right? We could actually, if you're bullish, which I think I am right now. I see a lot of positive upward momentum here. This is a huge wick here in the previous candle. A lot of buyers came in and said, no, we're not going to settle for anything less than this. This is what we're getting. We're not settling down here. We're pushing it up like a plunger. Buyers are coming back in, continuation bar on the next thing. Now that could change in any given second, right? But a couple of areas of interest, 23.6. I'm a little less interested in that. Top of the value area right here at 81 even. I'm kind of interested in that. It's right above the 38.2. So if you wanted to split the difference, you can, but you got to envision this wick being taken out for that to happen. And I don't envision that. So I'd probably be a little bit north of that, actually, north of the top of the value area on that. And then, 50% is kind of lines up nicely with a little node of volume down here, which I think would be a good second unit, that little node of volume right above the 50%. And then, again, my stop loss, it's because this is the NASDAQ, you got to give yourself some room. You got to give yourself some breathing room, at least initially. And so you can get one of those units off the table. And I'm going to the bottom of the value area just to get a stop in, Oops, I want to do 2 lots. That was bad. All right. So that's kind of my setup right now on the micro NASDAQ. Again, patience is the rule of the day. This particular trade setup, though, in my opinion, I think it's good for the next half hour, maybe hour. Then I would probably revisit everything. Today, I get the sense that we're going to be all over the map again, based on all sorts of rumors and inputs and information. So I don't think I would leave this trade setup if we're not filled all day long. FYI, that's just my opinion. I don't know. Frank, this thing is like market analyzer. It's like a window. It's just like you just could move it around however you want. Just kind of grab a corner. Oops, my bad. Grab a corner and just kind of make it how position it how you want it. And then you could, it's really easy to customize it. Just right click in here. NinjaTrader is great with, it's really intuitive. It's not as complicated. I get people saying, oh, look at all these windows. Well, I mean, it's a quote board. a trading ladder and a chart. And you can customize it however you want. But when you right click on things, things open up and close, right? You could add instruments, you could add, blank rows, you could add label rows, you could add columns, if you want. Click on the column thing, and here are all the columns that you could actually, add to your market analyzer. It's really highly customizable, really easy to use. So I would just experiment with, positioning it how you want, and then right click in there and go ahead and, and add the columns or subtract the columns that you don't want. And that's kind of, and once you start playing around with that, that's how you'll get it. It's pretty easy. It's pretty intuitive once you go ahead and experiment a little bit with it. As he's strong, man, even the Dow is coming off its doldrums here. Only minus 100, only minus 138. That's interesting to me for sure. Crude oil is kind of coming back a little bit, 68.1. Herbert says, been in and out of the MQ long already with 5 contracts. Hopefully that was a winner for you. Level 2 trading. 46.50 to 46.53. All right, we got order filled here. All right, so this is what I'm talking about with this NASDAQ. I mean, it is, look at this. I mean, it moves. Somebody said something, right? Things are moving around here. Somebody said something and it's causing, now again, it's a less volume. Look over at the micro NASDAQ, 687,000, huge volume. But from a dome trading ladder point of view, it's less, right? It's smaller. And you can see that the volume here in the ES is less as well because it's so volatile. When it's volatile like this, it seems to be a little bit less. So, we're kind of in a little bit of a bubble here because I don't have Bloomberg on. I don't have a news feed going. But let's see what happens here with see if we look at that. It touched our limiter. We didn't quite get it. We didn't quite get the second unit. Frustrating, I know, but that's okay. We got the first one, and maybe we will get the second one. We'll take our time, and we'll kind of do some trade management once we get filled here. If we get filled here, ES. Whoops, that's not the right ES. Where's my ES? 15 minute. Oh, you know what I did? I just toggled up here. That's fine. Let's do that. Yes, not quite as volatile. Look at that, not quite as volatile, although we have a lower high, lower low. We had rejection up here in my rectangle. We had rejection up here in my rectangle, and now we're coming back down to our target. We'll see if we can get that. MNQ, I think we got the second unit. We did, and the market is breaking down, which is okay. I'm not too worried just this particular second, although I should be, right? We definitely should be. Moving average cross, the moving average cross is kind of slowing down. CCI, nice slope down, negative, pretty good. Still at 57, but pretty nice slope down, which is a little bit bearish right now. Our stop is way down here. I want to contemplate profit target at this point, although this big red candle is moving down quickly. This is now a dominant candle if it closes around here. We have 2 more minutes before this candle closes. So my guess is something's happened in the marketplace that I don't know about because we're in here talking to each other. But you're right. So we're still not filled on our ES trade. I would have heard this little order filled. So let's think about maybe profit target up here at this volume peak on the actual for one of the units, and then we'll scale up our stop if we get lucky. Remember, anything could change here. This is a fast moving market right now. 50, we penetrated the 50% retracement. We almost penetrated the 61.8% retracement. If we get a close below the 61.8% retracement, it's not a retracement anymore in my world. It's a direction change. Okay, Herbert, thanks for that. Referring to Beach Bum's question about the new version of NinjaTrader 8.25. Open your platform, copy the LIC, download the new NinjaTrader, and paste LIC back in, or send support an email. That's always a good thing to do, right? Send support an email. It's easy to do. You just hit that help button, email support right here, shoot out an email to them, and they will quickly, I know it sounds a little like, really, I got to send an email, but these guys are really great. And when I say guys, I mean guys and gals, unisex, all together. Don't yell at me. These folks are awesome. So they'll just type in whatever you got. If you want to copy a screenshot, you can as well. All right, new candle, another continuation candle down on the red. Right now, I wouldn't even be able to draw a rectangle right now because as this thing is moving down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a longer term rectangle instead. Again, area support is going to be right here. And we're going to be patient. We're going to wait. We're going to wait and see what happens. Let's just shoot over to ES. Oops, darn, I did it again. I want to just use my drop down menu here because I want the same thing on my chart. So ES here, not quite as dramatic, and you see that a lot, right? ES is not quite as dramatic. Slows its roll a little bit. Still didn't get our order pulled off. Point of control has moved up a little bit, and so if you, depending on what's happened in the world that I don't know, I think it would be a legitimate idea to kind of move us up to the point of control here, 23 and a half, 23 and a quarter, 23 even, something like that, somewhere in there right now. And then, probably then tighten up the stop now that we've done that. Here's again my area of support. So I'm going to pull this up a little bit further. And we'll hang tight. We'll see what happens here. POC shift, not in the mood to get waterfall. Yeah, I see, the ES is a different instrument, right? It's got more volume. It's more, I think there's a bigger focus on it. I think that there's, it's a little bit more stable with respect to price moves, in my opinion. Again, that's just my opinion, but let's just shoot over to the MNQ to see how badly we're doing there. Oh, not so bad. We're pulling back up. Things are happening. I think you're going to get a lot of this kind of volatility, though. So be careful with the MNQ in particular, and give yourself some breathing room, right? Give yourself some breathing room. Really my goal here is to try to get that first target up here at 424, and then move my stop to break even here at 372 for the second unit and let it ride. See if we can get some trade lift here. I'm going to tell all my friends on Reddit, start buying the MNQ. Herbert says, let MNQ drop, looking good for a new entry once it reaches my area. Level 2 trading says, Powell speaking, putting the fear of God in me. Of course. And that's the trick, right? That's always the danger on a day like today. It's crisis on a Friday, Sunday night, Monday, crisis kind of slowed down. Tuesday, everybody has to get involved and put their 2 cents in, causing crisis again. So crisis, panic averted, things looking better, and then everyone starts putting their 2 cents in and all hell breaks loose. In any event, let's just focus on what the candles are telling us right now in this particular trade. The candles are, well, we'll see. We have another 7 minutes here before this candle closes. It's kind of slowing down a little bit, but the volume spike is pretty big right there. And now we're kind of slowing down. We'll see if our rectangle holds or not, or if we get stopped out here. Right now, unrealized profit is -80, -77.50. It's unrealized. It's the only position we have right now. 2 micros, right? 20% of a classic mini NASDAQ, E-mini NASDAQ. That's, I like to say it that way. Griffin has no guts on going long again. What? It's not like you. 27. We do have 3 red candles. We do have big wicks on both sides of the candles. Let's take a look at the wicks. Buyers came in here. almost a doji-like candle, buyers and sellers pushing, squeezing the body of this candle, kind of small in the previous 10-minute candle. Right now, we're kind of, again, small range, doji-like again, not sure what to do. We got 6 more minutes before this next candle does something. Boy, I sure would like to try to get a unit in here. I think it's valid. I think this point of control is good. The slope of the CCI is slowing down a little bit. We're still positive at 74. The moving average cross hasn't really changed much, still 15 handles apart. And volume is almost 1 million now in the ES, and it's almost 750,000 in the MNQ. Amazing. Amazing what a little bit of drama could do to the volume. CME probably loves this. Busy says back over. He said POC is moving to 30, maybe. Let's see. So a competing point of control. This would be a competing point of control for sure. We'll see what happens here. Right now, we're almost trading all right at this point. We're almost to my target. Almost. Come on. It's so frustrating and so maddening when you don't get it, but that's okay. Let me just put it on here. I'm just going to freeze it. I have 4 or 5 ticks away. It's okay. It's okay. It's only 4. There we go. All right. Now we're in it. Now we're in it to win it. We have to make a decision at this point in time. What's a reasonable place to place a profit target? Well, we got the top of the fib. We have the top of the value area. We have the 23.6%. Those are the only areas of interest that I could see right now. CCI is kind of moving. I'm not going to add a second unit. This is too much. I'm going to probably shoot for right now. I'm just going to shoot for, and we'll tighten things up here. The top of the fib line. And then we'll kind of take a deep breath and see what happens when this candle closes. If it merits us to get tighter, if it merits us to move our stop, maybe we'll do that. Let's just see what happens with this candle. It's still red, lower high and a lower low. Lower low for the 4th consecutive candle, which is not necessarily a great thing. But we're holding our own right now, and we are patient. So at least we had a little bit of a price advantage than just going into market or trying to get in at the 23.6. Not saying it's going to be a winning trade. It could very much be a losing trade. And we are definitely going to tighten up our stop here in a second because it's way too wide of a stop at this point. D asks, who is narrating the stream and what is their trading experience? Where do I start? I'm not sure where to start. I know some guy who read a Mark Douglas book yesterday. My name is Jim Cagnina. Work for NinjaTrader. And to answer your question about trading experience, it just depends on really what you mean by that. And by answering your question, I'm going to age myself a little bit, right? Floor of the Board of Trade, 1981. So what is that? 91, 2001, 40 years almost. In the brokerage side of things, retail trading side of things since really a couple of decades. And I'm glad you're here. Love to, hey, we do these things every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, D. Love to have you. Sometimes we have good trade ideas. Sometimes we have bad trade ideas. But we're learning as we go. That's one of the things we're always doing is learning. So right now, this is looking a little bit negative here. So we're going to go ahead and tighten up the stop into my rectangle, get it right to the 50%. If we get stopped out, that's okay. It's one of those days, one of these days. So sometimes these big volatile days give you some good opportunities and sometimes they don't. So I'm going to just go ahead and tighten that up because this thing could go all the way down to the bottom and just keep moving. Just keep going. We'll see what happens. Almost there. You can see here my stop is kind of mirrored on the actual trading ladder. And there we go. So that's that. Now, don't forget to cancel your target, which we just did right here. So, the other thing to keep in mind, everybody, is today could have been, maybe it was better to do a micro today. Maybe it wasn't better to do a micro. I don't know. Right now, though, this is a pretty big dominant green candle. The Dow on the right-hand side is down 300 again. So remember, we were kind of fought our way back to minus 150. Now we're down 300 again. And with Powell and Yellen talking about God knows what, this is not going well for the equity market, but there's always another day. Griffin says not every year, but enough to keep for getting a job. Oh yeah, back in the 80s, it was a thing for sure. But no more. End of an era. End of an era. But keep in mind, though, back in the 80s, it was a different ballgame. There was no electronic anything, right? There was, you know, it was not a retail. It was not a retail phenomenon. This was you know, you had to have an in, right? You had to have an account. You had to be sponsored. You had to have some money to trade in the pit, for sure. And you know, or you're calling a broker, opening an account up, placing a trade over the phone. That broker then calls the floor, and that floor guy writes down your trade and writes it down on a piece of paper and hands it to a guy who runs it to the pit, who turns around and makes a trade with the local or maybe another broker, and then they turn around and they write down your fill on a piece of paper and they run it back to the phone clerk. The phone clerk then calls your broker, which is in the office upstairs or across the street in the insurance exchange building, and then they call you on the phone and say, hey, you're filled at XYZ price. This thing could happen in a matter of minutes, or it could happen in a matter of hours, right? It's not really inclined to for retail trading. And now all of a sudden, boom, we just click a mouse and zap, we're done. Griffin there you have. Griffin says, what's the name of the company that sent out paper charts every week? I don't know. I think there's a couple of them, but literally you get your daily chart and that's it, right? But I remember, Bill, being down there, being on the floor and sitting on the edge and literally we just started with this with Stottlemyre, you know, with the market profile, and, you know, drawing letters on a grid for the brokers and the locals in the pit, just sitting there, right, you know, every half hour, write a B, C, D, E, F, G on a piece of paper. That was always kind of hated that part of the job. It wasn't very exciting. Yeah. So yeah, I know. All about order flow. This market is, you know, I don't know. There might be an opportunity actually selling a stop here if we start making new lows. This is not looking good. Let's go over to ES. Oops, I don't want to do that. I want to do it that way. I keep making that mistake. Yes. Yes is looking a little more stable than the NASI. We're right at that 61.8%. Not interested. My rectangles is no longer any good. It's you know, it's here now. And we'll wait to see where this candle closes before we make a decision on do we do anything or not. I mean, this is pretty negative right now. So our friends in DC aren't doing anybody any favors. You know, and there could be some more news on, you know, scientific news we don't know about, right? Maybe there's some scientific news. Yeah, they sent out a book of charts once a week, and then we updated them every evening. I remember, so Sandra Smith, who's now at Fox, used to come in the office with her father, who ran a charting service, believe it or not. So she was, I don't know, 12 years old or something, 14 years old when she'd come into the old Infinity office and with her father. And they literally would bring it in the morning. It was in the Wayback Machine. Anyway, so one of the things I'm going to write down in my notepad is today. This is, so I do this every day. I take notes. I write it down in my notepad. You know, I just have a 8.5 by 11 weight sheet of paper. And, you know, today's note is great day for the micro E-mini S&P, not for the classic E-mini S&P. You know, nobody likes uncertainty, and buyers and sellers are You know, there's a little bit of a follow the leader mentality going on in a day like today, and sellers came in and just in two candles moved this price down from 29-ish to, what is that, almost 30 handles, and it's still going down. It's still going down. I would not be interested in buying anything right now, for sure. For sure. It looked like we had some stability earlier on. Point of control is still pretty high, but you know, now the competing point of control is way down here. It's at 46.10, 46.10 and a quarter. So that's a pretty big jump downward right here on the point of control, if it happens, if it gets down there. And we'll see if any volume accumulates whatsoever here. We're over 1 million in the E-mini S&P. It's only 11 o'clock. That's terrific. Crude oil is back down to 67, 66.99. Let's see if I have a crude oil chart up here right now. It's just let's do the micro crude oil. Same fundamentals here, right? Same basis. Point of control, pretty relatively south here at 67.95. And this is just going inversely related. This is just following. This is correlated with the stock index futures right now. Pretty close. This is a COVID fear market right now. A COVID fear market right now. NQ is now down 200. We were positive when we started talking. YM is 443 negative. We are falling out of bed. You know, wow. Yep, don't catch knives. It's bad for your health. For sure not. Not looking for any place to buy right now. You know, I would, at minimum, I want to see like 4 candles of support. And not seeing it yet. This was yesterday's low, that dotted red line. So we literally touched it and drilled back up. And interestingly enough, we see this big wick here from 1 o'clock this morning. And, you know, we talk about this a lot. A lot of these times these wicks get challenged. And that's what I think we just saw here. That wick got challenged. We'll see if we get any stability right now. Trend channel is completely destroyed. And these are dominant candles here. Dominant. If you have a 30-minute chart, you have a dominant candle on your hands. For sure. Yeah, UK is probably not helping anything, right? Level 2 trading says may wait till London closes. Yeah, UK is not helping matters at all, probably. Pam, you're welcome. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Tell your friends. It's free. It's free. It doesn't cost you. You know, and what I really appreciate actually is the give and take, right? With everybody that comes in here. You know, I'm, you know, arguably not the smartest bulb in the lamp sometimes. And, you know, I'm just going on muscle memory. I've been doing this for so long. And really appreciate it when you guys are here with comments and stuff like that. Busy got his 26s, 12 handles, Yahoo. Congratulations, Busy. Thumbs up. Appreciate that. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Sorry, I'm going back in the, I have 2 question boxes. I have a Zoom question box and I have a YouTube question box. David says, how do you like to set up order flow volume profile, RTH? So regular trading hours or extended trading hours. Here's the thing. I look at the whole playing field. I want to see what happened last night. I want to see what happened. So I'm 23 hours, right? It's a 23-hour market. So in futures trading, there is no such thing as regular trading hours, right? It's all regular. It's 23 hours. And I know the equity markets, the stock, you know, the cash markets are different. I get that, but I prefer to see the whole thing. So I do prefer to see the whole field. You could set it up though. A NinjaTrader platform is so awesome. I mean, if you just wanted to do a segment, for instance, just go to your drawing tools, order flow, you know, you could just pick a segment and say, I want to see what the volume profile looked like during that time frame. And you just add it right there, boom. And what I just did was, you know, I just went from, you know, 4 o'clock till 10 o'clock, and actually mysteriously the point of control is at the exact same spot. which was interesting. But that's how I do it. Oops, I'm sorry. I like to see the whole. I like to see what happened last night. I want to see where the distribution volume is. And a lot of times at night, though, you don't see a lot of times you don't see this behavior where we made these new lows overnight. We kind of rebounded up today, and then we're back making these new lows again. A lot of times you don't see that. I think this is a special circumstance today, or this week, maybe this month, maybe, who knows, given all this stuff with COVID going on. And this is definitely a COVID sell-off, in my humble opinion. Wow, the Dow is down 560. Wow, I'm still going 500. Someone's probably kicking Powell to shut them up. Fear kept me from shorting the 43s. I mean, I think it might be a good idea to look for places to sell again. I wonder if we're done. I don't think we're done for the day. I don't know. I could be wrong, but this is looking really weak. I mean, my fib line is completely out of whack right now because we're making new lows, and that's the trouble with fib lines, right? If you're making new lows, you got to keep changing it. It's a moving target, so it's pretty invalid right now. It doesn't help us. It doesn't give us any good information. Martin is scalping the shorts on MES 100 tick and up 42 points. Sweet. Thumbs up. Love to hear it. Daniel says, I want to pay for cheaper gas. Go CL. I hear you. I know. I hear you. Daily chart, busy. Let's see what we got. This is my daily ES chart. It's kind of naked. There's not a lot of stuff on it. Yeah, this is pretty negative right now. And what I would do, we have this upward trend. We have, old area of resistance right here. I'm going to draw a line right there. I'm going to throw that line there because a lot of times these areas of resistance are now areas of support. And that's given us some downside projections here at 38 3/4, which is very close given the volatility we've had. 38% retracement, 57. This candle right now is more than an equal and opposite. It's almost, well, not quite. The body of it anyway is an outside bar, if you think of it that way. So the body of the candle is an outside bar where the top of the body is above the previous body. The bottom of the body is below the previous bottom of the body. And it's red and it's strong and it's moving down. This is pretty bearish. This is a pretty bearish formation right now at this point. We'll see if we can get some stability. If we could end up with a wick at the bottom, then it could be a different story. If we do end up with a wick here at the bottom, and we do have, a different story. But until this candle is closed, it's not looking good. And so this candle here on Friday really, really just dominating the structure of this market at this point. I thought we were going to have some follow through. I was wrong this morning. I thought cooler heads were going to prevail, but it was not the case. Yeah, I think COVID fear market is a good way to put it. That they say that Black Friday and Cyber Monday were off a little bit from last year, and I don't think that's the deal here at all. Terrence, thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's 11 o'clock already. I'm just mesmerized by this today. I'm going to be doing this all day. So let me, I do want to thank everybody for coming today. I do want to remind everybody trading futures options on futures involves substantial risk of loss, not suitable for all traders and investors. Oftentimes in futures trading, you have a high combination of leverage and volatility, although that can be an equation for opportunity, also equation for risk. Only fund your future trading account with risk capital. Easy on the day trade margins. We're in a real-time sim account today. And again, we're going to do this again tomorrow. And tomorrow afternoon, I believe it's the micro crude oil. We're going to talk about micro crude oil specifically, get into details in that market. And then Thursday, again, with the live trade setups, Thursday morning, and then Thursday afternoon, Future Trading 101. So for those of you who were asking about the trading ladder, come to that event on Thursday at noon, East Coast time. And we're going to get into detail on that. David, you're welcome. Thank you. Well, we have a little bit of a wick here on this new candle, Foreman. Again, I want to see like 3 or 4 candles demonstrating that there is some support here at the 48, 50, 40, 45.80 area, give or take. At basically where my fib line ended. I could move it down now, and I'll do that. Okay, any event, thanks for being here. Hopefully see you tomorrow. I'll tell your friends, your family, your neighbors. Love to have you. Appreciate all the feedback and all the commentary back at me. That was awesome. Gerald, we'll talk about volume profile. I didn't see your question. We're kind of out of a time here, but we'll talk about it at the next event. You know, the darker blue and the light blue volume profile shades, what it all means. So again, thanks for being here. And I would like to remind everybody to be safe out there and be good to each other. Take care. Thanks.